welcome back to Movie Files. As you can see from the title of this video, this is a spoiler review for Captain Marvel. If you haven't already, why are you watching this video if you haven't seen the movie, number one? But if you haven't seen the movie, go back and watch my spoiler-free review where I talk about the good, the bad, give you guys my score, my overall thoughts of the film without giving too much away, pretty much nothing away. I just kind of, skate around all the big spoilers, and that's what I'm here to do today, which is talk about all those spoilers in the film. But first, before I get into that, I want to thank all those that are new to Movie Files for clicking on this video, and also thank you for the ones that are subscribed for coming back to watch this video. If you haven't already, hit that notification bell so you can make sure you can stay up to date with all of our movie reviews, trailer reactions, TV reviews, unboxings, and also giveaways. So definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell. So with that, just kind of recapping the movie, again, I want to just let all the spoilers out, because when you do these non-spoilers, you just want to talk about this, that, and the other, but, again, I did a good job of not spoiling anything in that non-spoiler review, which you guys can check out, but I am here to get out all the spoilers. So first thing up top, to kind of set the mood for the movie, just get me in a good mood, was what an awesome tribute to Stan Lee. I mean, I knew it was going to be a tribute, but it was cool to see, instead of for all the cool moments that we got in the MCU so far, we got the Stan Lee cameos as the opening moments, and then the thank you to Stan Lee. Such a great tribute, and it really kind of set the mood for me to get excited for this film. So kind of the first act in the movie is pretty standard, pretty adventurous, really fun. We meet Varys as she goes by in the middle of at the beginning of the movie. Called Varys. She's named that by Jude Law's character. We find out their relationship is a mentor-mentee type of relationship. She's teaching. Jude Law's teaching Captain Marvel how to hone in her powers, how to control her powers. We get this very cool mission on this planet that we've never seen before. The mission falls apart really quickly. But in the midst before that, I just thought it was so cool, the vibe and everything that was said when they get into the water and they come out and they got their suits. Just so cool. For those that read the comics, it just brought a lot of the comic feels to it. But I just really love that first 15, 20 minutes, I'm locked into the film. So, the mission goes bad. They take Captain Marvel. We meet Ben Mendelsohn's character, Talos. He tries to get into her memories. We find out that he's trying to get, find out where this particular thing is that he's looking for, that we find out later in the movie. Captain Marvel breaks out of his the ship, and that's where we land at the Blockbuster, and that's where we meet Nick Fury and Coulson, and then, that's really kind of the first act. So I'm, again, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes into the film, I am locked in. I'm loving everything I'm seeing so far. Breaking into the second act, coming after the first act, we find out that, Captain Marvel has been on Earth before. We have to find someone that knows a little bit of her history, because they look in the files, they break into the S.H.I.E.L.D. facility, and we find out that the woman that's been in her dreams, the Supreme Intelligence, which the movie has kind of established, the Supreme Intelligence is in the presence of someone that you look up to. So she finds out that the person that she looked up to, which was a doctor, had died due to this experiment she tried to do. So the only person that seen them last was Maria Rambeau. So that's where we go to, and obviously at this point, Nick Fury and Captain Marvel have built kind of a rapport of trust between each other. We meet Goose for the first time, and then Nick Fury interacts with Goose. But we go to Louisiana. And then that's where we get a little bit more Brie Larson's past and Captain Marvel's past. We meet Monica Rambeau. Those that are familiar with the comics know that she's a very pivotal character, and she's like 7 or 8 in this film in '95. So next time we may see her in Captain Marvel 2, or maybe in Avengers Endgame, who knows? She might have a bigger presence. She will have a bigger presence in MCU. But I love that name drop there, and I thought that the little girl who played Monica Rambeau was great, and also Letitia Lynch as Maria Rambeau. I thought that was kind of the heart of the film, and I really enjoyed those moments. But in the midst of that, we get Ben Mendelsohn, who, by the way, at this point, I did not expect him to have this many comedic moments. Again, I think Marvel's doing something so cool where we're getting these different variations of villains. They're not just one note. Going back to Michael Keaton as Vulture. He was a bad guy, but I mean, you kind of understood what he was going for. He was trying to support his family. I just love that moment in the car with him and Peter Parker. But, with Vulture, and, we get that with Killmonger. Obviously, you can see where he's coming from. And then, obviously, Thanos. So I love that the MCU has kind of changed the narrative where, for the longest, a lot of these villains were just kind of one note and just kind of one-offs. But, I love that we get the big twist in this film, which is we found out that the Skrulls are the good guys, and, in a minute, for a minute there, I'm like, is he really being truthful? Is he being honest? But we find out at the end of the day, and I'll touch on that in the third act, but we find out that they just want they want to find their families. At this point, the Kree are trying to eliminate them, and they're spread all over the galaxy. They need this equipment that Dr. Lawson, who we find out is Mar-Vell, that they're trying to find her chip for they can use the power that they need. Now I'm kind of getting to the third act. We find out that the power that she uses to build the ship where Captain Marvel, very similar, very, very similar to the comic book, with a little different twist, but we see that Mar-Vell's blood gets infused with her, and we see the energy force, but the Tesseract plays a big part. That was a really good call back to all of us fans that have been part of the MCU. We know how important the Tesseract is and how it comes about, and obviously, it's in the hands of Nick Fury at this point. But kind of wrapping up as far as getting into the third act, again, Captain Marvel is helping the Skrulls at this point, which again I thought was a really cool twist. A twist that's completely different from the comics. She's helping out the Skrulls at this point. They're good guys, and at the end of the day, she finishes the mission. She helps the Skrulls out. The Kree. We get a little bit of Ronan, which if you watch my review, I thought that the Star Force and a little bit understanding of the Kree and the Skrull war wasn't really handled that well, but obviously we're going to get more movies within the Captain Marvel universe, and probably hint they're going to play a much bigger role in the future. But we find we see that Captain Marvel is going to help the Skrulls find the rest of their family. She's going to protect different planets as the movie ends. And Nick Fury, we see how he loses his eye. Goose scratches his eye. I love every moment that we get with Goose. We see how that happens. And I don't know, was it me, or I love that they established the Skrulls in this movie, and we obviously see Coulson was a Skrull at one point in the movie, and then the moment when Talos is being helped up by Nick Fury, he touches his hand, and he says that little line, I couldn't be better. Obviously he's saying that because he's saving his family, but I don't know, that was a hint towards me that maybe Nick Fury at one point in time is a Skrull, and we might see Ben Mendelsohn, because I think Ben Mendelsohn, he's obviously, I'm glad he didn't die. I'm so excited to see him in more movies. But I don't know if we'll see Nick Fury maybe be a Skrull at one point. I love that little moment there, if you caught that there. But overall, we finish up. Captain Marvel saves the day. It wasn't too big of a world-ending type of scenario. Again, we saw Ronan and we saw Star Force, and I thought they were kind of underwhelming. And really, at this point, I think we were to assume, if you look at the timelines and when we first see Ronan and Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014, that it looks like Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, has ended the war. Of course, we're going to see where things land and maybe in Endgame and where things land after in her second movie and probably inevitably in her third movie. But, I think she ends the war. And because, again, Ronan and Guardians is like an outlaw, or like a, kind of, he's not part of the Kree anymore. So, I love how the movie wrapped up and all the different reveals that we got throughout the movie with Mar-Vell and the Tesseract, and how Nick loses his eye, and how Captain Marvel gains her powers, and kind of see the complexity and how powerful she is, and Thanos is, which leads into my next spoiler. I would love to get you guys' thought. I loved that end credit scene. It was again, coming off the movie. Again, you can see my full review and get my score, but I really enjoyed the film. But going to that end credit scene, that first one, that gave me chills seeing Captain. So obviously the way that end credit scene is kind of set up, it's obviously within probably a couple days, couple weeks maybe. It's not too far off of Avengers Endgame or Infinity War, because Captain Marvel or Captain America still has his beard. So we see, the numbers of people that are dying across the world. They're trying to unlock the pager that we get in the movie, and we see how they exchange the pager between Nick Fury and Captain Marvel. They're trying to decode it. They can't figure it out. We see War Machine. We see Bruce Banner. We see Natasha. We see Captain America, Steve Rogers. And they're like, we need to figure this out. We need to crack this code. We need to see who's on the other end of this line. As soon as Black Widow, Natasha, says that, the camera pans around and we see a current version, a present day of Captain Marvel. And she says, "Where is Nick Fury?" That just gave me chills, because instantly this movie did something different when, we're getting introduced to all these new characters. Doctor Strange, we weren't introduced to him first. Obviously, we got the first phase movies. We were introduced to Iron Man and Captain America and Thor. And then after that, we got Doctor Strange and Ant-Man got their individual movies before they joined the group. But then from there, Black Panther and Spider-Man were introduced into Civil War, and they got their individual movies. So it was cool to see we get Captain Marvel, her movie first, and then she gets into the mix, kind of similar to Ant-Man in Civil War and in Doctor Strange in Infinity War, where to me, seeing those characters in individual movies, I enjoy Doctor Strange and Ant-Man, but seeing them play within the Avengers universe is really cool. So it's going to be so cool to see how I love Brie Larson in this film, and now seeing her switch it up 25 years down the road. Where is she at mentally? What has she, like, again, are we to assume that she ended the war between the Kree and the Skrulls? So it was just such a cool moment to see her in that scene, and seeing her, just imagine her in a room with Bruce Banner, Captain America, War Machine. I don't believe there was any other characters. I don't believe we saw any hint that Iron Man was there or Ant-Man was there. Maybe they're in the quantum realm. Who knows? Nebula, where is she at? So I just love that scene. And then obviously the second post-credit scene, which Marvel does normally, is like, it's like the funny moment. So we see that Goose spits out the Tesseract, and that's how, you know, obviously in what was it, the end of Thor, we see that Nick Fury has held the Tesseract, and that's for Loki and Avengers and so on and so forth. So I really enjoyed it. I was glad. Get all those spoilers off, guys. I enjoyed all the reveals that we got in this film. I would love to know, what do you think is next? You know, obviously we're going to get Captain Marvel in Endgame. And one thing that I don't know if this movie has established well is they made her, which is great, made her seem invincible, but what is her weakness? How is she not just going to beat Thanos just right away? Obviously, there's going to be some conflict there, but I just love that introduction to her in Endgame, and I love all the stuff that we got. Again, I haven't read all Captain Marvel comics, but I've read a couple different issues with the Pursuit of Flight, and I thought that they did a good job of translating the comics into the real, into the MCU. So again, check out my spoiler-free review. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this film. I think this film, after multiple other reviewings, is only going to go up. I'm not saying this in my top 5 or anything of that nature, but as far as origin movie goes, I can definitely say, walking out of this is one of my favorite origin movies. You know, I put it up there with the first Avenger. You know, I put it up there with an origin film like a Doctor Strange, and you know, and all those other films that we got with the origin in the MCU. So I enjoyed it, guys. But at the end of the day, I want to know what you guys thought of the film. I want to know your spoilers. This is where we can just talk spoilers about all the stuff that we got in the movie. Give me your theories. What do you think Captain Marvel 2 is going to be about? What do you think? How do you think Thanos and Captain Marvel, how they're going to interact for the very first time? Are you excited like I am to see Captain Marvel interact with Star-Lord, interact with Doctor Strange, Peter Parker seeing her for the first time, Black Panther? I mean, there's so many different, interacting with the other powerful female characters in this world, the Wasp, Nebula, Valkyrie. I'm just so excited to see Captain Marvel interact with all of our favorite Avengers, and then how she's going to kick Thanos' ass. And maybe Thanos isn't even the big bad, as some people have theorized. There's maybe a bigger threat out there more than Thanos. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, definitely, guys, subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with our content. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media accounts, guys. Let me know what you guys are thinking once again in the comments. Start us some dialogue. Thank you guys for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.